The silence in the dark room feels suffocating, as though the air itself has thickened, pulling Miriam deeper into the unknown. She floats, suspended in darkness, her thoughts tangled in a web of confusion and fear. She tries to move, but it's like her limbs are locked in place, frozen in time. Then something shifts. A soft whisper brushes against her ear, faint, almost inaudible, like a memory stirring from the depths of her mind. "Miriam, can you hear me?" It's Claire's voice again, but this time it's not distant. It's close, too close. Miriam's heart skips a beat. "Claire?" she calls out into the void, but there's no answer. The darkness seems to swallow her words whole, leaving nothing but an eerie silence. Miriam struggles to push forward, to claw her way out of this overwhelming blackness. But the more she moves, the more it feels like something is holding her back. Suddenly, a sliver of light breaks through the darkness, sharp and blinding. Miriam squints, shielding her eyes from the harsh glow, but the light doesn't recede. Instead, it grows brighter, more intense, until it's all-consuming. She's pulled toward it unwillingly, compelled by something she can't explain. And then, just as quickly as the light came, it fades. Miriam finds herself standing in an unfamiliar room, the walls painted in dull gray tones, and the air thick with dust. The faint hum of old machinery lingers in the background, like the heartbeat of a forgotten place. She looks around, disoriented, trying to piece together what's happening. The floor creaks beneath her feet as she steps forward, the sound unsettling in the otherwise silent room. The walls are bare, but something about the space feels wrong. It feels like a place that shouldn't exist, something torn from the seams of reality itself. And then, she sees it, a mirror standing alone against the far wall. Its surface is cloudy, distorted, as if it's been long forgotten, left to gather dust in a place that time had abandoned. Miriam hesitates, unsure if she should approach it, but her body moves of its own accord. Her feet carry her toward the mirror, each step heavier than the last, as though the weight of what she's about to face is too much to bear. When she stands before it, the reflection that greets her is wrong. It's not her face staring back. At first glance, it seems like Miriam, pale skin, dark eyes, tousled hair. But there's something distorted about it, something off. The edges of her reflection appear jagged, like the image is splitting, breaking apart. Miriam's heart pounds in her chest as she leans in closer, her fingers reaching toward the surface of the glass. She's drawn to it, hypnotized by the way her reflection seems to warp and twist before her very eyes. The reflection smiles, but it's not a smile she recognizes. It's cold, empty, sinister. "Miriam." The voice comes from behind her. Claire's voice, urgent and sharp. "Turn around. Don't look into it." But it's too late. The reflection in the mirror shifts. Its features grow darker, more pronounced. The eyes that once mirrored Miriam's become hollow, like black voids pulling at her soul. Her reflection reaches out of the mirror, stretching impossibly far, its fingers brushing the glass like a spider preparing to strike. Miriam stumbles backward, her breath shallow, her mind racing. She doesn't know what's happening, doesn't know how she's ended up here, but she knows that something is very wrong. And whatever it is, it's coming for her. "Miriam, get away from it." Claire's voice is panicked now, trembling with fear. But it doesn't matter. The reflection in the mirror steps forward, emerging from the glass as if it's being pulled out by some unseen force. Miriam wants to scream, but her voice fails her. The air grows colder, the light dimmer, as the reflection pulls itself completely free from the glass. It stands before her, a twisted, distorted version of herself. And then it speaks, its voice cold and hollow, devoid of any humanity. "I've been waiting for you, Miriam." Miriam recoils, her hands trembling as she stares at the thing before her. She can feel its presence, a suffocating weight on her chest, an oppressive force that presses against her very soul. The thing that stands in front of her isn't just a reflection. It's something far more dangerous, far more malevolent. "You're not me," Miriam whispers, her voice barely audible. "You can't be." The reflection smiles, a wide, empty grin that stretches too far, like it's tearing at the seams. "Oh, but I am. And you've been me all along, Miriam. You just didn't know it yet." The words hit Miriam like a slap to the face. The truth, whatever it is, feels like a secret too terrible to bear. And yet, it lingers in the air around her, heavy and suffocating. Before she can respond, the door behind her slams open with a deafening crash, making Miriam jump in alarm. She spins around, half expecting to see the Watcher or Lucas standing there, ready to drag her back into the nightmare. But instead, it's Claire. Her face is pale, her expression frantic as she rushes toward Miriam, reaching for her as if she can somehow pull her away from the thing in the mirror. "Miriam, no. Don't listen to it." Miriam wants to run, to flee from this twisted version of herself and the dark reflection that now seems to mock her every move. But the reflection is already closing in, its elongated fingers reaching toward her. The last thing Miriam sees before the world goes dark is Claire's face, her eyes wide with terror, as she screams Miriam's name one last time. And then, everything fades to black. The reflection has come alive, and Miriam is left with no escape. Claire has arrived, but is it already too late? What does the reflection want? And how does it tie back to the nightmare that has consumed Miriam's life? The mystery deepens, and the stakes are higher than ever. Stay tuned for the next chilling installment. The blackness fades, replaced by a strange, dizzying sensation that pulls Miriam from one world to another. She blinks, her eyes fighting to adjust, her breath quick and shallow, but there's no air to fill her lungs. She gasps, her fingers gripping the cool metal of the floor beneath her. A faint hum of electricity buzzes in the distance, cutting through the silence. Her vision slowly sharpens. She's no longer standing before the mirror, no longer trapped in that distorted space. But she's not back in the world she knows either. The surroundings are unfamiliar, sterile, alien. Cold, white walls stretch endlessly around her, and the faint flicker of fluorescent lights overhead casts harsh shadows that make the room feel even more suffocating. Miriam tries to stand, but her body refuses to obey. Her limbs feel heavy, unresponsive, as though something is holding her down. She looks around desperately for any sign of Claire, but the room is empty, except for a lone chair positioned in the center of the room. The hum of electricity grows louder. She tries to call out, but her voice is lost, swallowed by the sound of the buzzing. Panic begins to crawl up her spine as she struggles to move, to find some escape from this place. But it's no use. Every movement is sluggish, as if her very thoughts are being dampened. Then, the door behind her opens with a soft creak. She doesn't look. She doesn't want to look. But the sound alone sends an icy chill through her, a warning that whatever is coming isn't something she can escape. A shadow moves through the doorway, tall and imposing, the figure almost blending with the dim lighting. Miriam's heart races as her breath catches in her throat. "Miriam," a voice whispers, cold, low, almost familiar. She doesn't need to look to know who it is. It's the Watcher. She can feel him, his presence like a weight pressing against her chest. "You've been waiting for me." Her body tenses. The Watcher's voice is a caress, but it's one that chills her to the bone. There's something undeniably wrong about him, something inhuman that twists her perception of reality. Her mind races as she tries to piece together what's happening, but everything she's learned, every theory she's entertained, evaporates into nothing. "No," she whispers, a shaky breath escaping her lips. "I've never been waiting for you." There's a long pause. The Watcher doesn't speak, doesn't move, but Miriam feels his presence closer, his form looming over her, his shadow stretching across the floor. "You think you're the one in control, Miriam?" The Watcher's voice cuts through the silence again, more mocking this time, his tone dripping with contempt. "But you're not. You never were." Miriam feels herself trembling, the words sinking into her mind, poisoning her thoughts. His words ring in her ears, bouncing off the walls of her mind. She tries to push him away, to reject what he's saying, but it feels like a truth she can't deny. "I'm not," she begins, but her voice falters, uncertainty creeping in. The room seems to darken, the walls narrowing in on her, closing the distance between her and the watcher. Miriam can feel her pulse pounding in her ears, the thrum of blood against her skin. Her heart is racing, and yet, she can't find the strength to fight. "You've been marked," the watcher says. "Just like Claire, just like the others. And now you belong to him." The air in the room grows thicker. Miriam gasps for breath, her chest tightening as she desperately tries to escape. She can't breathe. She can't think. All she can focus on is the presence of the watcher and the weight of his words. "No, please, I don't understand. What do you want from me?" Her voice is barely above a whisper, cracking under the pressure of the fear that's overtaking her. The watcher steps forward, the sharp click of his footsteps echoing like a death sentence. "I want you to understand what's been hidden from you. I want you to realize who you really are, Miriam." His voice is barely audible, a quiet murmur, yet it seems to fill the room, reverberating through the walls and into Miriam's mind. "You've always been part of this. Always." Miriam's heart skips a beat. What does he mean? Part of what? Her thoughts spin, desperately trying to make sense of his cryptic words. But every answer she thinks she finds only leads to more questions, more confusion. She looks at the chair in the center of the room. It feels like a trap, but the idea of sitting there, of submitting to whatever he wants, feels like her only choice. She doesn't know what else to do. Miriam slowly walks toward the chair. The air around her feels thick, oppressive, like it's crushing her under its weight. As she reaches the chair, the watcher is still standing in the shadows, watching her. She can feel his gaze on her, a heavy presence that claws at her skin. "Sit down," he says, his voice now low, commanding. She doesn't have the strength to resist. She sits, and as soon as she does, the room goes dark. The sound of static fills the air. The hum of the machines disappears, and Miriam is plunged into complete silence. The weight of the watcher's presence is still there, hanging in the air like a poison, but the room itself has become impossibly still. Miriam's heart races. She feels like she's being suffocated, like the darkness is closing in around her. She tries to scream, but her mouth is dry. Her throat is constricted. She can't move, can't escape. Then, without warning, a faint light flickers in the corner of the room. Miriam's head snaps in that direction, her eyes straining in the darkness to see what's there. It's a screen. A small monitor flickers to life. The image is distorted, grainy, but Miriam recognizes the setting. It's the basement, the same one she saw before, the one that kept calling her back. But there's something different this time. On the screen, there's a man with short, dark hair and a grim expression. Evan Kessler. Miriam's breath catches in her throat. What is he doing there? Why is he on the screen? And then, just as the realization hits her, she sees it. A figure behind him, obscured in the shadows. A face she doesn't recognize. A face that isn't Evan's, but a face that seems all too familiar. The Watcher's face. "This is your last warning." The Watcher's voice echoes, soft but threatening. The screen glitches, the image flickering in and out, until it's nothing but static. Miriam watches in horror as the screen goes black again, and the suffocating silence returns. She's alone again. But is she really? The mystery continues to deepen, the lines between the past and present blurring. What does the Watcher want from Miriam? And what role does Evan Kessler play in this dark, twisted game? The unsettling truths are just beginning to surface, and nothing is as it seems. Stay tuned. The silence in the room grows oppressive, like the air itself is thickening, compressing everything within it. Miriam's hands tremble on her lap, the cold metal of the chair digging into her skin, but she doesn't dare move. There's something out there in the shadows, something she doesn't fully understand but feels deep in her bones. The Watcher is gone, but his presence lingers like a shadow that refuses to be shaken off. Her breath comes in shallow bursts, her mind racing. Evan Kessler. The name echoes in her head, bouncing between her thoughts. What was he doing in that basement? And why did the Watcher appear to him? Behind him, no less. The pieces are there, but they refuse to fit together. What does this all mean? Miriam mutters to herself, her voice cracking in the silence. She's alone in the room, but she can feel the weight of the Watcher's gaze from every corner, his presence suffocating. The feeling is so strong it's as if he's still standing there, watching her every move. She wants to scream, to ask the questions that burn in her mind, but she knows that it won't change anything. She is trapped, both in the sterile room and in the web of lies and truth that has ensnared her. I need to find answers, she whispers, her voice shaky but determined. She pulls herself to her feet, the chair scraping across the cold floor as she rises. Every part of her screams to run, to escape this place and never look back, but the overwhelming pull of the unknown keeps her rooted to the spot. She can't leave, not yet. Not until she understands what's going on, what he wants from her, and why this is all happening. She moves toward the door, her steps slow and cautious, her heart pounding in her chest. As she reaches for the handle, she hears someone moving behind her. The sound is faint at first, almost imperceptible, but it's there. A soft shuffle, the quiet scrape of shoes against the floor. Her skin prickles. She turns, half expecting to see the Watcher again. But there's nothing. Just the empty room. Yet she knows she's not alone. The air is thick, heavy with something she can't quite place. The silence is deafening, as though the entire world is holding its breath. Who's there? Miriam calls out, her voice trembling but firm. She doesn't care anymore. She's not afraid of looking weak. She just wants to know what's happening. No answer. Her heart beats faster, and she steps back, eyes darting around the room. But the room is empty. Nothing stirs. The silence remains unbroken. I'm not crazy, she says to herself, trying to reassure herself, but she feels the doubt creep in. What if she's imagining it all? What if everything is just some twisted hallucination? What if she's not in control of her own mind anymore? She takes a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. She won't let fear control her. Not this time. She reaches for the door again and twists the handle, the soft click of the lock echoing in her ears. The door creaks open. Miriam steps into the hallway, the dim light flickering above her head. The hall is long, stretching out in front of her like a tunnel with no end. She feels as though she's walking through a dream, disjointed, fragmented. The walls are smooth and cold, the floor beneath her feet sterile and white. Every step echoes, magnifying the emptiness around her. But it's not the silence that unnerves her. It's the overwhelming sense of being watched. She knows something is following her, something she can't see, but she can feel its presence like a weight pressing on her back. Suddenly, a soft voice cuts through the silence. Miriam. She freezes. The voice is faint, familiar, but it isn't the Watcher. It's someone else. Someone she's heard before but can't place. Who's there? She calls out, her voice breaking as she spins around, her eyes scanning the hallway for any sign of movement. Nothing. Just shadows and silence. The voice comes again, closer this time, as though the speaker is right behind her. Miriam. She turns quickly, her heart pounding in her chest. Claire. The name escapes her lips before she can stop herself. The voice, so familiar, so distant, has the same haunting tone as Claire's. But where is she? Miriam steps forward, her breath quickening. Claire. She whispers again, this time more desperately. But the only answer is the echo of her voice. For a split second, the air grows colder, the shadows deeper. She feels it then, the shift. The space around her feels heavier, as if something unseen is pressing in on her from all sides. She wants to run, to get out, but something holds her in place. Miriam, you can't escape this. You can't run from it. The voice is closer now. Miriam spins around to face the direction it's coming from, but all she sees is a blank wall. Who is it? Miriam breathes, fear creeping into her voice. Who's there? A low, guttural chuckle rings in her ears. It's not Claire's voice. It's not anyone's voice she's ever heard before. It's distorted, almost mechanical. A sound that sets her on edge, like a broken radio signal cutting through the static. Miriam can feel the walls closing in, the space around her warping as if it's alive, shifting and changing. The shadows stretch, twisting toward her, as though they're reaching for her. She steps back, her heart racing, and finds herself standing in front of another door. But this door is different. It's darker, the edges charred, like it's been burned. She hesitates, a sense of dread washing over her. The door creaks open slowly. She steps inside, and the room is dimly lit by a single flickering bulb above her. The air is thick, stale, and at the far end of the room is a figure, a man. But it's not Evan. It's someone else, someone she's never seen before, yet somehow feels inexplicably familiar. "Who are you?" she asks, her voice shaking. The man doesn't answer. He simply stands there, facing her, his back to the flickering light. As Miriam watches him, a sinking feeling spreads through her chest. There's something wrong with his posture, something unnatural about the way he holds himself. "Please," she whispers. "Please tell me what's going on." The figure turns slowly, and Miriam feels her breath catch in her throat. His face is distorted, his features warped beyond recognition, like someone or something trying to hide its true form. And then, with a voice as cold as the grave, the man speaks. "You're not supposed to know." The words hit Miriam like a punch to the gut. Before she can react, the room goes black. The walls close in, and she feels herself falling, tumbling into nothingness. To be continued. What's behind that door? Who is this new figure, and what is he hiding from Miriam? The mystery deepens with every passing moment, and the answers remain just out of reach. The journey isn't over. Stay tuned for the next part.